Afternoon, guys. How you doing? Long week, but I think a good week. So certainly we're enthused with the fact that, one, we're going to be able to get a jury in Seminole County. I know a lot of people had some concerns about whether or not we'd actually be able to pick a jury here in Seminole County. And I know I was one of the ones who kept saying I thought we would, because we've never failed to pick a jury in Seminole County in the past, even in some high-profile cases. So I'm real happy that it looks like we're going to get Seminole County jurors to decide a Seminole County case. So firstly, very happy about that. Secondly, I know it's slow going to the outside. It's not slow going to the inside. Those of us who have done this before and know the process and how it needs to happen, I think it's working out pretty well. So sorry we're taking more time than I know you would like us to, because this isn't the fun part of a trial for media, but it is a very, very significant, important part for us. So it's going well. We're making good progress. I'm very happy. The jurors, I think, for the most part, are being very honest and straightforward. This process does not work if jurors don't tell us the truth, and it does work when they do tell us the truth. So I know that we've had some examples where that hasn't been quite what we were expecting from people. Luckily, we were able to identify that. But hopefully, the rest of the jurors will continue to tell us the truth, be open and honest with us, and won't allow any of those outside influences that we're so concerned about infect how they're going to present themselves to us as jurors. Because, as I've said before, if this, whatever the verdict is going to be, if we're going to survive this as a criminal justice system, not only survive it, but even get more trust from people, not less, we need to make sure that the jury verdict is believable and it is trusted. And that can only happen if the juror is honest to us when we're picking them, and then honest in their verdict. So we're still at that first stage right now, but I'm comfortable we'll get a jury and that they're answering the questions well for us. So that's where we are. Sorry?
When do you think we'll have a jury seated?
It's hard to say, but I hope so, that we might start into the what we call the panel jury selection by maybe Tuesday, the latest Wednesday. You know, we just look at the progress right now, getting 30 or 40 picked to get started with, and we're on track for that timeline.
Mark, is George encouraged by the process this week?
Well, I think he's very encouraged because finally it's underway. You know, he's been waiting for 16 months for this process to start. He's certainly looking very forward to the resolution of it and to an acquittal. So he's enthused that we're going. On the other hand, now it is real, and now it is very stressful because the preparation is great, but now we're in it. So I think it's there's a little bit of both.
How do you feel when jurors say that they don't believe that you are innocent until proven guilty?
Well, it's a predisposition that some people have in reality. You know, when a child, you know, mom walks in and a child sitting there with a cookie in their hand, they just think something is wrong. In our system, I don't mind you walking into the courtroom saying, I'm thinking this as a juror. But as long as you'll say, whatever I think is going to stay outside the courtroom, and I'm going to decide on the facts in the courtroom, I'm going to apply the law and only the law the judge gives us, then I'm okay. People are human. They're going to bring in predispositions. The worst thing that can happen to us is that a juror has a predisposition and they don't tell us about it. If you think about it, you know, that may have happened with one of the jurors who didn't quite make it through the system, but tried to. A juror like that, what we call a stealth juror, is unbelievably dangerous, not only to the case. It's devastating to a case to have a juror who has an agenda, but it's really devastating to the system, because then all of a sudden we start losing faith in the system and decide our justice on the streets, and we need to be very careful about that.
Is that the guy with the Facebook post that you're referring to?
Yeah, I don't know his name, but I think, yeah, there was somebody who we were able to identify that they were being less than straightforward in their presentation, as putting it as gently as I can, and that, thank God that was uncovered before it got worse, because not only would that potential stealth juror have their own agenda, but then they infect everybody else with it, and they do it in a stealth way. So all of a sudden you have a jury who thinks they're listening to somebody who speaks the truth when they're only speaking their own truth.
How was he uncovered? He discovered the post and brought it to the attention of the parties?
Defense, we found out about it. We did some workup and realized that there was more that was out there than he was saying.
How did you find out?
we're good.
Do you have a dossier of everybody that's come through here? Because obviously you had that
No.
when he sat down for questions.
No, we don't. That was, I say we're good, and I hope that was taken in the jest I meant it. I mean, we're trying real hard to do everything we can. That could easily had gotten by us. This is not a perfect system that we have. We're just trying to do the best we can with the resources we have, and it was very lucky that that turned up. It now causes me great concern that we have to redouble our efforts on those jurors yet to come, because there was just more coincidence than real systematic work.
Mark, would you have expected more for-cause dismissals at this point? It doesn't seem like there's been a whole lot, at least from the ones that have come through the courtroom.
You know, maybe this is because I'm living in this microcosm, but I would have thought that there were more people who had more information about this case. I would really have thought that your efforts over the past 16 months would have been more effective. And I say that because I really think that more people would have heard about this case and had opinions. Having said that, that also causes me concerns that maybe there are people who are not being as open with the information flow that they have about this case. And that is concerning, but I trust the jurors are going to tell us the truth. I remember before I was involved in the case, of course I would have more of an interest in the general public, but I saw a lot about this case in the 2 or 3 weeks it was around before I got involved in it. So it's surprising to me that in 16 months, with the saturation this case has had, that there's not more impact on some of the jurors.
Will there be any opportunity in the general phase for those people to come out and sort of reveal themselves if they maybe know more than they're letting on right now?
Yes, because the general voir dire still allows us to look into issues of their background and what information they bring to the table, though certainly this process that we're going through right now was intended to weed out those people who had so much pretrial publicity and had formed such an opinion they couldn't set it aside. So while it's still an issue for general, this is really the process or the stage where it should be weeded out.
Mark, can you talk about the Fry hearing?
Came back to the premises today, and was that the word off?
Yes, I heard that he came back. I heard that he was, I think, trespassed off property. I understand that he may have actually been attempting to get to some of the jurors. So that's devastating to this process. He would have cost this system a week of time, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars of effort that the sheriff's department, clerk's office, judge, lawyers put into this case. He could have done away with that with one scream into a jury room about something. So I'm very glad that the sheriff's office did what they should have done.
Do you think any further action should be taken against him?
As it turns out, he's lucky that I'm not the sheriff of Seminole County or have the ability, because that cuts at what I've done for 30 years. So
With the female,
very glad that I didn't have much to do with what should happen to him.
with the female school worker, was she dismissed because of the proximity? She disclosed too much information during the voir dire process, and you were afraid that she would be uncovered as an individual citizen?
I believe the court has taken the opinion not to disclose the bases for strikes for cause, so I'm going to follow her suggestion, if not order.
Mark,
So-
can you talk about the status of the Fry hearing and where it stands and how much longer do you think it's going to take and when you guys can fit it in?
Certainly. The Friday hearing is going to continue Monday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We will have one more witness that we're going to present. I would anticipate that's going to take probably about 3 hours. That's been around the amount of time taken for other similar witnesses. And the state will then have an opportunity, should they so desire, to bring on rebuttal witnesses. And if that happens, I think that's going to be set for Tuesday afternoon. So at the outside, it may be a decision coming from the court shortly after the end of the hearing on Tuesday afternoon. But she has whatever time she feels she needs to take to make that decision.
Mark, when will you depose Ben Crump? Is that what you were talking about in the courtroom with him?
I had a quick conversation with Mr. Crump about that. We did not make a decision when, just trying to work it out. Obviously, we've been a touch busy this week, and we're going to be a touch busy next week. So somewhere in between, I do want to get that in before testimony begins. And we'll work with each other to get that done.
Are you planning at all to address the issue with the judge about keeping the jurors' names secret after a verdict is rendered?
Yes, matter of fact, we're going to address that as well on Monday afternoon.
Mark, about the timetable, are you still looking, it's now it's now 2 to 4 weeks, right?
Yes.
The length of the trial that you're expecting, is that pretty much, how did that change from 4 to 6 weeks to 2 to 4?
Well, I think part of it was that we included in the initial 4 to 6 week estimate jury selection. So we now have a week done. We probably will get a jury, it looks like maybe by middle or sometime next week. That would be great. So you can take that week and a half off. So now it puts us down to 2 to 4. The 2 to 4 is just an estimate as best we can with what the state is going to take to put on their case and what the defense will put on their case. There is, of course, the issue of the Fry hearing, because based upon the judge's ruling, that could easily change the timeline of the trial by about a week, maybe a touch more. So that's why we have a range. All right?
Who investigated all the woman? There was a woman who came in and professed almost no knowledge of the case other than a prayer at her church.
Correct.
And Don had then asked for the address of her church. It seemed that you were going to pursue that or try to verify some of that, just, trying to get more information. And then a couple days later, she came back and wanted to say she couldn't do it because of
Mhm.
sequestration. Had you gone out there and started looking into what she said?
No, we were actually in court, so we've been sort of staying busy with what we have been doing. It's a difficult process to look through everything that everyone might say or do. More importantly, we have to trust that a jury is going to come before us and tell us the truth. I was curious that any juror who knows so little about this case, who lives in our community, I just feel like if I walked into the Sanford Mall, the Seminole Town Mall, and just went up to 20 people and asked every one of them what they knew about this case, that I would get more on average than I got from some of the jurors. But we'll see. Again, this is my little microcosm, so maybe they know a lot less about it than I think they should. That's probably okay for them as well. All right, I appreciate you taking the time and coming down, and it's certainly nicer setting here than out in the hot sun or rain that's coming. But thanks very much for your attention. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you, I'm sure, bright and early Monday morning. Take care, guys.